I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolours. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hello everyone and welcome to Painting Watercolours with me, Colin. I've stretched my paper. This is £140 Bockingford Extra Rough, and I'm just leaving a thin film of water on the paper just so I can manipulate the paint. Quick run round of the colours I'll be using for this one. These are only suggested colours, you don't have to use them if you want to paint this yourself. Naples yellow, cerulean blue and neutral tint, cobalt violet, alizarin crimson. This is a dark one, it's not the raspberry one. Bright red, raw umber, phthalo green and a neutral tint. I'll take some Naples yellow into the hills and the land here. I just want to run a little bit in. Don't mind it coming into the sea, it won't matter. I'm going to take some of these cerulean blue and neutral tints. I'm just going to drop this in really and just let it almost explode, bringing it down towards the yellow, leaving some patches in between for light and dark. Just make your skies interesting. Take some violet, a touch of neutral tint, just a little bit of the sky colour, deeper than that. I think that will do it. Just a tip of the brush. Check this for spread. I don't want this to be too dark. At this point you can get plenty of water on should you want to thin a paint out. With the blue just to get a different shade. And I'm just going to drop some phthalo green in here. You won't see a lot of this I don't think, but we'll put it in. Back to the sky colour, cerulean blue, neutral tint. Bringing it into the green. Taking some of the violet. Some more cerulean blue, mix it into the centre with some neutral tint, just to make it a little bit darker. You can always darken the sea up later, but we're just putting a little bit of movement in, that's all. Now I'm going to take a kitchen towel, just couple it up. I'm just going to damp it so that it's not a completely thirsty towel. There's some damp bits on it, rag it out, crumble it round. And into this I'm just going to move some paint just to create a breezy day. That really is all I want to do with that. Then I'm going to leave that to dry. Now that your sky and sea is dry, we'll mix up a colour. I'm going to use what we had left over in here, add some more cerulean blue to it, some of the violet, some neutral tint, taking it to a grey, bluey violet kind of thing. I think that will do it. And I've just re-wet the hills in the background. I've set the board at an angle, and I'm just going to run this in. Just following the line that I drew, that's all. Very basic. I'm just pulling this down through the water. I've set the board at an angle, it's about 30 degrees, it's not an exact science. I'm running some water along the edge, might just mist this up a little bit. Just adds a little bit of interest into the background. And we'll take some of the same colour and add a little bit more blue to it there, some water. Quite watery. Take a little flat brush. I'm going to put a little bit of the sea in, just in the background for the moment, just help the picture along. Mix these two colours together, just making it slightly darker. Pulling some waveforms out. Very simple way of putting some movement in your sea without you really doing a lot. Softening these edges out into nothing, just with a damp brush. Some more neutral tint just to darken this up. Bit of blue, just thickening it up. Softening out again, just laying waveforms out. Then I'm going to let that dry. I've just re-wet the spinnaker out of the front sail. I think it's called a spinnaker. I'm taking some bright red and I'm going to mix that with some alizarin crimson just to dull it a little bit. Just going to give it a quick coat. I'm going to darken it a little bit more. I'm going to add a touch of raw umber to that. On the red side. Just indicating where the folds are. Taking a little bright red and dropping it in. Just blending it. Take a little neutral tint to that. Once again, I'm just pulling it in the direction that the folds are flowing. I'll just take a little neutral tint, drop it where the bolt is. There's a little guy here. And then I'm going to leave that to dry. Now that your spinnaker is dry, I think it's called the spinnaker, that front sail, start again, the main sail, and I've just thrown some extra bright red into the mix. Take some of the darker mix with the raw umber in, which is the bright red alizarin crimson raw umber. A little bit of the deeper red, bright red, and we use that to separate the sails. Adding a little bit of raw umber and neutral tint to the whole thing. darker. Straightforward neutral tint. Bit of a sail there. Bit of neutral tint. And then I'm going to let that dry. I think it's time to put the masts in. And I'm using a sword liner for this. Find it a little bit easier for me than the rigger. Just going to take some neutral tint. There's little bits and pieces on here. I think it's what holds the rigging and things. So I'll just pop them in. To this one here. Take some of the raw lumber. Just drop this in. A bit of neutral tint on the tip. There's a bauble here. Something that holds the blocks and tackles on. Just going to drop a little bit in here. Just to give a little bit of variation in the colour. And I'm just dropping some bits of dark in it just to add a little bit to it. Then I'm just going to let that dry off, and then I'll put the rigging in, which I'll just put in with a pen or a pencil and a ruler, and there's not much to that, but it can take a bit of time. Just put the rigging in to the best that I can see on the photograph. I'm sure if there's any sailors out there, they'll tell me whether I've got it wrong. So I'm just taking some of the phthalo green here and some of the neutral, some of the cerulean blue. I'm just going to come in and just drop some dark on top of these waves, just to bring them out a little bit before we add the highlights to it. I do want some of the original phthalo green to show through. I'm just touching the tips on and just pulling it down. Just in the shape of a wave. Just adding movement to it. So now I'm going to leave that to dry, and then we can put the highlights on. Now that the whole painting is dry, I'm just taking some white titanium from a maker called Magello Mission Gold. This is a really good covering white paint, and we're just going to pick out some highlights on top of these waves. Dragging the brush, allowing the hit and miss effect. And I think that's all I want to put on this. I think that's enough. I'll leave some suggestions at the end of the video if you want to see some more. This is where you get to sign it, put a mount around it and frame it. Like I say, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. And feel free to leave a comment. All comments are welcome, and I will see you next time. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you.